Hello, my name is Oscar, and this is day 2 of using Kattis to become the best programmer in the world. Trust me, that will happen. This is mainly just for my own education, and I'm explaining what I'm doing, not just because people might be watching. It's mainly because I think it's the best way to learn and communicate code. And I think communicating code and having a good understanding of the terminology in code is a really important thing, and that's why I'm practicing, speaking and talking about code. And I also think it clears out and makes it pretty clear what I understand and what I don't understand, and it's a really nice way to learn and practice, in my opinion. So if there's anyone watching, feel free to give advice in the comment section. However, this is mainly for documentation and for my own educational purposes. I just found this problem here. I think I'm going to solve it. I haven't really read through it, but it's in 1.4 difficulty, which is around the difficulty I've been doing until now. Yesterday I did 2 problems which were around the 1.4 difficulty, and they were pretty difficult for me, but I did manage to solve them at the end. So I think it's probably the best, probably a very fair level for me at the moment. So let's just get into it. Okay, so John Marius chatted too much at the recent Justin Bieber concert and now needs to go to the doctor because of his sore throat. The doctor instructions are to say Unfortunately, the doctors sometimes need John Marius to say for a while John Marius has never been good at it. Each doctor requires a certain level of Some requires while other can actually diagnose his throat with just an H. They often diagnose wrongly, but that's beyond the scope of this problem. Okay. Since John Marius does not want to go to a doctor and have his time wasted, he wants to compare how long he manages to hold the with the doctor's requirements. After all, who wants to be all like when the doctor wants to go I did not even understand this last sentence here. After all, who wants to be all like when that doesn't make any sense. Each day John Marius calls up a different doctor and asks them how long his has to be. Find out if John Marius would waste his time going to the given doctor. Okay. The input consists of 2 lines. The first line is the John Marius is able to say that day. Okay. So the that he's able to say that day. The second line is the the doctor wants to hear. Only lowercase and h will be used in the input, and each line will contain between 0 and 999 a's, inclusive, followed by a single h. The output go if John Marius can go to that doctor, and output no otherwise. So here he has the and here there's a longer so he could not go to that doctor. But here he has a long and the doctor only requires an so he can't go. So basically, if the inputs is equal or more than the that the doctor requires, then he can go, right? So the second line will just be like the requirement, the minimal length required for an that this guy can I already forgot his name, can produce, right? So let's get into it. Let's first include the library. Standard in-out is basically the only library I've been using so far. Yeah, I think most problems at this skill level don't really need any other libraries, so that's good at least. Let's make a main function here, return 0. And first of all, we need to acquire the input, which is an right? And it can be very short with a minimal of an h, or maybe it can even be nothing. But just for simplistic sake, I think it needs. Let's actually read it. The first line is John Marius said. Okay, so it's contained between 0 and 900 followed by a single line. Okay, so the h is no matter what, and then the can be 0 to 999. So let's first, it's not an int, it's going to be a char. or is it going to be a string or like a string array? I think it has to be a string array. So let's make it like that. And we also have to name it. So let's name it why not? I mean, that's a pretty decent name, right? Because that's literally what we're gonna input into this char string. We also need to ask for the r, right? So I think actually to determine the length of this array, I will make a variable called length r. Let's just say len r. Len r. Lena, okay. And we will do a int lena here and a scanf for the lena, which will be the amount of elements inside of the string array, right? So this would be an I actually, that's right, and then a needs to get the lena variable, right? Let's actually set the, no, it doesn't need to be initialized actually. So let's do it like this. I don't remember what this is called, so I'm actually gonna search what this is called. Ampersand. Okay, it's such a weird name for me. It's not called that in Norwegian at all. So let's have that there. And what is it actually called in Norwegian? I'm curious. Yeah, it's just that's basically what I thought. So it's just named and in Norwegian, which is kind of what the meaning of the actual symbol, right? So ampersand lena means that it puts the input and it puts it and stores it where the variable lena is stored, right? So the lena will then be equal to the input. And then here we define this, right? I'm pretty sure I learned that you cannot set elements to 0 because of the way that the compiler works, right? Like it can't compile and set 0 to each element before it actually knows the amount of elements, right? Because you haven't gotten the input for the elements at compile time. So I'm pretty sure you have to do it like this. I think I learned that yesterday. And what more do we need to do? So we need a way to count the amount of A's. But we first and foremost need to put the A's into the string array, right? Because the input consists of 2 lines. The first so we need to manually like have an input where you press the 1 times C1 from 0 to 9999 and then H, and then it will be stored inside of the array. So I think the way we do it is as a loop. So for int I equals 0, the I is less than lena, right? Because that's the oh wait, but I just realized this can't be an input before actually, right? Because you're only allowed to have an input for the names, and then that has to automatically be stored. So I think actually this is a bad idea. I need to delete this. And I think this should just be 999. And then I think the way we do this is we have a string array of 999 elements, and we will just initialize all those elements to being 0. And then we will store the input into that element afterwards. And I'm not really sure how to do that. I think we just literally need a scanf of, I think it's a C for char. I'm kind of guessing here. And I'm guessing like, wait, why do I need, oh yeah, right, because I was thinking one A into each element. That's right. So I do need a for loop here. For int I. I'm kind of guessing what I'm doing here. I'm not completely sure if this is correct. So right, so I haven't defined the length because like it can't be 999, right? Maybe I should do a while loop instead. Or I have an idea. What if I have a scanf first, right? And that will just contain the char, right? So let's just do a scanf here. It will be a char. Let's do first inputs, right? And we scanf it, so we have C here, and then first input, right? So now we have a char, right? It doesn't separate each of the A's, it's just a char. Now my idea is that we use a length function. I don't know if that will work though. And it's a long time, like I don't really remember how to use that function. Like, is there not a way to like count? Like, is there not like a built function for counting the amount of like letters in a char? I don't know. I don't actually know this. I haven't really worked with chars a lot. I've mostly worked with numbers so far. But I'm pretty sure a char is always 1 byte, if I remember. And then inside of a string or a string array, each element is its own byte, right? So you can take a char and put it in the array, and it will be stored in one of those slots, right? So if you have it there, we can probably set... I don't know, actually. I don't know how to do this. This is actually really, really weird because it feels like it's something so simple, but it's really isn't, right? So here, oh, so this should be like that as well. By the way, I forgot to have those there. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna search up function to split up char in C. In C, splitting a string, which is an array of characters, into smaller parts are tokens, but I haven't defined it as an array, though that's a problem. So char string, this is an example string, const char delimiter. What the hell? Char token. Okay, so this does, I don't understand this code. So this is a pointer, I believe, which points to nothing. It's not initialized yet. And then you set token equals string delimiter. So I guess that what this does is that it like separates whatever is between each comma, and then the token is then equal to the first token in this string. Yeah, and I don't really understand this line either. Maybe it checks each index and then just kind of, yeah, I don't really know. I feel like this is overcomplicating it. How to put a input. Okay, how to turn an input char into string array in C. In C, a string is fundamentally a null terminator character array that turns single input characters into a string array, which implies an array of strings where each string could be a single character. A 2D character array is required. Declaring a 2D... What the hell? How to turn an input... Okay, I think I maybe wrote this wrong. Into input char into array in C. A string is inherited treated as an array of characters. Therefore, each input as therefore, if the input is a sequence of characters, it is already in a form that can be handled as a character array. What? Here's how to take a character input and store it into a character array in C. First, declare a character array with a sufficient size to hold the input string, including the null terminator that marks the end of the C string. So here we declared the array. We already did this, right? And this will include the null terminator at the 50th index. Use scanf to read the input from the user and store it into the declared character array. So input string. So you can literally just do that. Will that put will that put each symbol inside of the string? Let's say I input hello, it would put the H in the first slot and the E in the second slot. I didn't know that. It's crucial to ensure that input string does not exceed the declared size of the array. If it does, the buffer overflow can... Okay. Reading spaces stops reading the first white space character. If you need to string containing spaces. Okay, so I think what this all means is that if I just don't initialize this, every single character inside of here should be 0 until the null terminator, which at the 999th index. And here, if I press S first input, it should just put it into the first... Wait, why is it first input? Into the right? And why did it not use here? It doesn't use the ampersand. Doesn't use the ampersand. Again, what is it called? It's called the ampersand, no? Ampersand, yeah. So here, if we do, we can like check if this works by taking a lang... Wait, can I do this? Is that possible? I'm not sure if like, is that a function, inbuilt function in stdio? Let me actually go on menu pages and search up lang, string lang, calculate. Oh my god, this is exactly what I need. String s. So I need to include the CS50, and it calculates the length of a string. The function calculates the length of s. The function returns the number of characters in s, excluding the terminating null byte. So string s get string input. This is, by the way, an inbuilt function in the CS50 library. Prints of output for and equals string out. So that's actually just exactly what I need. So I'm pretty sure I can just do this and go here, include that, and I'm pretty sure I can just do str len, right? And then put inside. That's the correct syntax, I believe, right? String len, yeah. And then you need to declare that first, and then you then you say this. So let's do that. I don't like the way they did it though, so I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna do wait, what am I doing here? String yeah, I plus plus plus. Let's do that, and then here we define length or len string equal len of Can I not just do that? Like, do I even need to like declare this? Like, doesn't this just work? I feel like this should just work. Like, I feel like I don't need this here. Because after this, then the will be updated. But wouldn't the length be 9? Like, wouldn't the length be the same though? Let's read here. Because it has a declared size, right? But the size, like the size off. Oh, what is the size off thingy? String. Also the fgets function. In your case, including the new line in the buffer, you might need to remove the trailing new line if it's not desired. Reads a line including spaces. Well, I don't want that, but string. Print. And then you can do this. Okay, I think I know a very dumb way to do this. It's probably not the. It's probably a very inefficient way of doing this. But let's just do that because I don't really know any other way to do that. So, counts and let's do that, and then we set and then we do this. Count I think that should work. And then we do for of the length e plus plus. Then we do count of I equals of I. Okay. And what this will do is that this will not be a predefined, or this is what I'm thinking. This won't be like a have its length defined already. Wait, why can't I just do this? Can I not just do that? Am I stupid? I think, okay, I'm stupid. I'm going to rethink this whole thing. So let's delete that idea. I think, okay, so now we have the input, which will be stored. And I think if you input like hello, then each of the letters will be assigned a index inside of this array. I think that's will happen automatically here. Then this will iterate until it's reached the end of whatever the last index is, right? And the index is automatically made after inputting. I think at least that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure that you can just declare or define a char without initializing it and without giving it the size. I'm not sure if that's possible, but we will figure that out. And also we need another. So let's actually call this differently. Let's call this for John Marius. So let's say JM. And let's do a char doctor. What's like the small way to write doctor? Is dr. I think it's dr. I'll do it like that. And then we can do another scanf here. Plus type, and oops, it is it. And then we will like have a loop here that this should be obviously JM, and this should be dr. And I don't know, I think maybe the reason why the example didn't use this is because an array has multiple elements and the elements are not stored at the same place, right? And that's why when you use this, you can't just assign it, because I'm pretty sure what this does is like it puts the value into like a location called this. And I'm pretty sure this isn't a location. It's like, I'm not sure. I'm just thinking out loud here, but could be something worth looking up after this, after I've finished this program. For I own if h j of the index I equals to the hdr, then sorry, like that. So if they're equal, then nothing should happen. So if they're not equal, then the code should break, right? No, that's not the way. I can't just do that either, though. That's a problem. Fuck, I think I need to use the length function here, so if I think I need to wait, can I not just make an if statement outside of this function? Like, do I even need a for loop? Can I not just say like if len jm is less or equal? By the way, I always fucking forget which I'm pretty sure it's like that. Okay, so it's less or equal to, and also I gotta do it outside here. It's less or equal to string length of dr. Then oops, yeah, I don't think I need this loop here. Okay, so this is actually turning out to be really a lot more simple than I thought it would be, which is interesting, but I think it's just because of this function here that makes it a lot simpler. If string if the string length of this is less or equal to the string length of a doctor, then return 1. No, not return 1. Then print of no and break, or return 1. I think return 1 cancels it out, like it like stops the code, right? Or am I wrong? I'm not sure. Else print of yes. So if it's more than this, actually it should only be like this, no? If it's less the string length, and then if it's equal or more, then it should just print of and then turn. And actually we don't even need return here, we can just do this, right? And it will just return. And oopsie daisy, that keep happening. And I also need to remember the semicolon. I need to remember the semicolons here. And it should be go instead of yes. Go. It's a very simple code. I think this string length just helps me a lot here. And I'm very unsure if this will work. But let's try. Let's try to submit it. So for the best. Please don't be a compiler error. I always get it's of course it's a compiler error. CS50.h, fatal error, no such file directory. Oh, maybe I can't include the CS50.h library. Yeah, I didn't think about that because I haven't downloaded it, and I think it's not allowed on the Kattis. Fuck. Well, that's that makes things a lot different. Okay, so I actually can't use this. Okay, so I need to rethink everything now. Okay, so I think the first lines should be the same, and then oops. And then there must be like, there's no way there's not a function for that, like that I can use though, right? Like how else should I find the length? Okay, how to count amount of elements in a string. Let's see. String is an array of characters determined by null. To count the number of elements characters, the string essential find 6 parameters. String length function. Part of the string h library is the standard and most convenient way to determine this. Okay, so I think this should be, hopefully it like accepts this string h. Where was he here? So char hello size t is unassigned integer type, length equals string length my string. Size t is unsigned integer type. Okay. Print the length of the string is, and then zu, and then length. So this is like a new data type, or like how is it an unsigned integer? what does unsigned integer mean? Unsigned integer in C. In C program, an unsigned int is a data type that represents whole numbers that are always non-negative, unlike a standard int, which is typically signed by default and can be stored both positive and negative. An unsigned int uses all of its bits to represent the magnitude numbers, meaning it cannot store negative values, but can store larger with the same size. Here are key characteristics of unsigned int in C. Non-negative values. Unsigned int variables can only store values from 0 up to a maximum possible value. The minimum value is always 0. Okay, I don't really care. Unsigned int minus. The unsigned, but that's not what they used earlier though. And here they use the U for mod specifier, not the ZU or whatever. So that's weird. Size T unsigned int C. Search term. See, it's unsigned integer type specifically designed to represent sizes of objects and the results of size of operator. It is guaranteed to be large enough to hold the size of any object that is the system handle. Process primary purpose to represent sizes, counts, and array indices, ensuring that these values are always non-negative. Unsigned int is a general purpose unsigned integer type. So it's a part of the size of operator, I'm assuming. At least that's what it says here. Okay. So how do we do this again? So we do size to length equals to length. Okay. Okay. So if I go here and I say size and T, and let's do length J for John Marius, and then equals to string length of and it would be, and also I don't believe these are correct. I think I need to remove these like that. I'm pretty sure I have to remove them. I'm not sure why, but I think I need to do that because they're arrays. I'm going to check that afterwards anyway. So string length of HGM, that's declared here, and this is length of dr, length of hdr, and then like that. And I'm pretty sure I can just put here length of jm is less than length of dr, right? Like that. So if the length of jm is less, then it prints no. Oops, it is. And if it's either equal or larger, then it prints go. No. So I'm pretty sure this should be good now, right? I don't see why this would not work. It's very simple. The only thing that I'm worrying about is like how these arrays actually work behind the scenes. Like how are they, like how does an array without any elements and without a defined amount of elements like get compiled? Like does it still have a size in memory like that? I don't really see how that works, but let's try it, and hopefully we don't get a compiler error again. Oh, of course we do. Okay, so charge error size missing in HJM. Okay, so we need an error size. Yeah, okay, so it's actually not possible to define an array without defining the amount of elements or how big it is. Let's see here, our length gem undeclared. Yeah, that's just a different way of saying that this isn't, you know, declared. Only once for the functions appears in and warning ignoring return value of scanf declared with attribute you want to use scanf. Okay, so I think this is all just a result of this not working. So let's try to edit and resubmit here. Let's try 999 first, and let's see if this, because that my problem is like this will just be 999 length, right? I mean, for me, that's what this means, that no matter what is actually stored into the array, it will still have a size, right? And that's what I don't understand. So maybe I should just do this first. Oops. So each element is 0. 0. And then it assigns something instead of the zeros, but I'm pretty sure like it will still have 999. So like I still don't know how to do this really. I think this will compile now, but I think it's not going to work. The code is not going to work. Oh, it actually doesn't compile. Undeclared length gem first used in this function. Did you mean length jm? What? Is reported only once for each function set appears in. Return value of scanf declared with attributes warn unused results. Scanf warning ignoring the return value of scanf. Wait, what? So okay, so I'm actually a bit lost here. This is a lot more confusing than I thought it would be. I mean, it looks so simple, right? But I'm just never operated with strings before. In a sense of actually like using properties of the array like we're using here. I'm not sure if that's gonna work. But length jm. Oh, I've written this wrong. So let's try now. Hopefully it compiles. My goal here is just to make it a compile, not to actually run correctly. Wait, what? There's no way. Why is the code working? What? Wait, what? Huh? This worked? I'm so confused. So this doesn't actually assign. Wait, I'm so confused. So when you enter or when you input a string into a declared array, right? And this declared, each element is equal to 0, but it's as a string, so it could be like this as well, right? It could be anything, right? Actually, before we do this, let's go in Visual Studio Code and try in Visual Studio Code, just to figure out this a bit better here. Let me open a folder here. Code okay, so I got my Visual Studio. Oops, it is it. I got my please let me thank you. Let's make a file here and we call it a.c, right? Let's do this and let's just try to run the code. Launch. I don't know how to launch in Visual Studio Code. What am I doing here? Why did it not just make a there we go. Okay. I think I just pressed the wrong button. Okay. So here I will just write hey, oops, hey. And then here, I just pressed shift and enter by accident. I don't know what happened there, but let's do a, and also I forgot it can't be H. Okay, my bad. So let's actually cancel this program. Cancel. Let's try to run again. So it needs to be A, let's say it's 4 A's, enter, and then A, H. Now that should be no, right? And I get a no. Okay, let's try to run it again. Let's do A, H, and then enter, and then A, H, and then set go, okay? So the code works. Now let's set this as an actual letter here. Now, in my opinion, this should not change the results. And it does change the results. Expected oh wait, maybe I just didn't compile correctly. And I just fucked up again. So H and then H go. Let's try H H. No. Okay, so it still works. So even though the array is assigned O for each element first, when we enter a new string, that just gets removed. And then, I mean, it has to be what's happening, right? I mean, how else would it work, right? I mean, I'm assuming that's what's happening, right? When assigning a new string into, let's say, assigning new string into array, resets string array C. Is it directly assigning new string literals using the equals operator operating to an existing char array which represents a string is not permitted after initialization. This is because char arrays, when used as strings, are essentially fixed-sized blocks of memory allocated to hold characters. The equal operator in this context would attempt to reassign the entire array, which is not a modifiable eval in C. To assign a new string to a char array, after its initial declaration, you must use string manipulation functions from string notation, such as string copy and string. I didn't use that, but I didn't use the equal thingy here. But I did do this. Assigning a new string. Wait, what? Oh, this is a printf statement. My bad. Yeah, my bad. It might be time to use ChatGPT here because I feel like I'm not getting answers from this chatbot here. Just go on Stack Overflow. So this doesn't work. Char as declare and initialize works. It's basically the same as this. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna take me a lot longer to actually find the exact thing here. Let's go on ChatGPT. Yeah, let's do this, and we will do just copy paste this code here into ChatGPT and say, why isn't the amount of memory dedicated for the array the same when we initially decide its length or its size. Array size and string length are different concepts. Breakdown. So char. This reserves 999 bytes of memory for the array. That memory is fixed at compile time. This fills part of that reserved memory with the user's input string, stopping at the first white space and automatically appending a null terminator. Okay, obviously I already knew this, but I just wanted to know why. I mean, it was obvious that this was what was happening after running the code, but again, it just a bit weird, like, because this for me looks like the whole, and especially when I say equal to 0, like I did here, or equal to anything, it just looks a bit weird. But this is not return 909. It counts how many characters appear before the null terminator. Also array size 900 total reserved memory, string length, number of meaningful characters stored before 0. That's why string length returns a smaller number, even though the array size in memory stays the same. Okay, that makes sense. However, at the start of the code, I also give a string to each element with the O and so on. Doesn't this in the null terminator is at the 999th element, and the rest are the letter O? No, the initializer does not fill the whole array with O's. Okay, so this sets to O 1 through, wait, what? Really? So I've misunderstood what this actually means. Okay, that's interesting. So this just sets the first element inside of it, the string O. Same for char. So the array looks like, okay, see, if you provide forwards. Okay, so now it all makes sense. I think it's pretty much cleared up at this point. I'm pretty sure the code would work if I just do this as well in that case, right? So let's actually try that here. So let's do this and this, and let's try to run the code. Let's just look through. Did I change anything? No, I didn't. So let's do that and that. Oh, I keep fucking writing the wrong thing. It's no. Then go. Okay, so it still works. So it actually works without initializing the first element, which just makes sense after actually learning what it actually does. I thought it set each element inside of the array to a char, but it doesn't actually do that. So yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. It's currently 11:50 p.m. and I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow and go work out. So yeah, it was a very interesting challenge that I feel like was very simple and easy. I just struggle because I haven't really worked with strings before. I've mainly worked with integers, and I just haven't used the string H library before either, but it is very logical, and the size t operators and not operator value type is really interesting. An unsigned integer. Let's actually, before I head off, ask a little bit more about the unsigned integer. Can you okay, explain and clarify what the unsigned integer does and how it works. An unsigned integer type in binary integers are stored as bits 0 and 1. A normal int sign reserves 1 bit for the sign. An unsigned int uses all bits for a value, so it can store large positive numbers. That makes sense. So unsigned doubles are positive range from -5. When you assign a negative number to an unsigned type, it wraps around using modular arithmetic. Becomes on a 32-bit system. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that, but I remember seeing an interview, and no, I didn't see it. I saw like a code competition, I think. I didn't really understand a lot of it, but I'm pretty sure I saw they using this kind of way to choose the element in an array. I could be wrong. But I think I saw this being used like that, but I could be wrong though. I don't fully remember. When you compare or do arithmetic between signed and unsigned types, implicit conversation may happen, often causing unexpected results. Typically use memory representation. Okay, I don't really care about this. I want to understand the size t and unsigned integer in context. Your code, says here's a type def alias for unsigned integer type used to represent size. What the fuck is an alias? It's defined through size t and 4 bytes. 8 bytes, range 0 to what the hell? It's basically an unsigned integer large enough to hold any valid memory index or size. Use size t. String counts characters until it finds the result can never be negative, so it makes sense to use an unsigned type. If your string has 50 characters, return 50 as size t. Why not use this? Array sizes and memory addresses cannot be negative. Portability is automatically adjusted preference size. Create functions like malloc, size off, and string length, all used consistent arithmetic. So I guess it would actually work to use int, but it just for, you know, the sake of not getting used to writing bad code, it's just better to just be used to this type of code, right? Like it's just a habit kind of thing. The same type of words. Like dividers represent this number. Okay, I think I pretty much got it. So that's about it. I'm probably gonna upload the video tomorrow because I need to go to bed like right now. Try to get as much sleep as possible. I also gotta like take out a whatever it's called, like I've washed my clothes and I gotta take in and dry them up and hang them up to dry. So yeah.